My name is John Lipman, and I am the Director of Maharishi Vastu Services and Architecture for North America. Also on the call, though you see only a logo for her, is Susan Lauer, who is our Chief Administrator, and Serene Puccio, who is our Director of Client Services. We'd like to welcome you to this webinar in which we'll be addressing how our homes and other buildings affect us. We'll be focusing on what Maharishi Vastu is and how it contributes to our wellness, to our well-being, and we'll talk about solutions to uniquely 21st century environmental risks. Well, wellness architecture has become very popular in the last decade. And is there more to wellness architecture? Can we build homes that really improve our wellness? Can homes even have a soul? The ancient system of Vastu, as it has been revived and standardized and made fully effective by the famous, celebrated Indian sage Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, promises to bring influences of greater happiness and family harmony, greater success, and growth towards enlightenment to those who occupy buildings designed according to it. These are astonishing claims, and yet they're actually borne out by published medical research. So we're going to look at Maharishi Vastu homes and cities. What is it? First of all, it's a restored ancient system of principles that are based on nature's own architectures. It's not a style, it's compatible with most styles of architecture. It's a system. And it's based on measurable phenomena, not belief, not a placebo. And for its full benefit, it should be applied to new construction rather than for the remodeling of existing buildings, though there are some elements that can be incorporated into an existing building. So how can we create these amazing proposed influences of supporting health and happiness and family harmony and success and enlightenment through the structure of a building? Well, the sun is the most powerful influence on the face of the earth, and it rotates from the east to the west because the earth is rotating from the west to the east. And so no matter where we live, the sun always comes at us from the east. And because it is the most powerful influence of nature on life on Earth, when we face east, we are resonating with nature's organizing intelligence. And this may explain why brain cells fire differently depending on the direction one faces, and why when we face east, science has now discovered that our brain works the best. Here's a little bit of research that bears this out. Subjects who slept with head to the north scored worst on a mental health exam, and head to the east and south were the best, which are as Maharishi Vastu predicts. Buildings also function differently based on their orientation. Misfortune and disease result from wrongly oriented buildings, and families living in homes with south entrances had the poorest mental health, the most financial problems, and the most burglaries. We really discourage people from living in south-facing houses. We recommend perfectly due east or north. And the effect even in the office, when an architecture firm moved into a Maharishi Vastu office building, employees generated 50 to 80% more original ideas, and creativity rose steeply. This is something that companies would pay anything for, and they can have it. But even the light from the east, the light at sunrise alone is enough to affect our health in very good ways. Among the research that we have found that has measured this has found that body mass index is healthier when people are exposed primarily to east light, that people with bipolar disorder in a hospital room that gets east light recuperate 4 days sooner than if they were in rooms getting west light. And a Nobel laureate concluded that to minimize skin cancer, we should get our solar exposure in the morning and not in the afternoon. So the influence from the east is a very real and measured thing. Among the many elements in Maharishi Vastu, they have been found to have dramatic effects upon mental health, reducing restlessness and aggressiveness and winter depression, and scoring better on the mental health inventory. That means having better mental health and better personal development and greater brain coherence. And in our physical health, the elements of Maharishi Vastu have been shown to lower the heart rate, or to correlate with, to be associated with lowered heart rate, lowered blood pressure, lowered serum cortisol, a better body mass index, reduced skin cancer, and greater well-being. And in the overall area of wellness, correlations among the elements of Maharishi Vastu in published research have been shown to improve our quality of life, our well-being, our overall success, to reduce stress, improve our mental health, to correlate with improved physical health, family relations, happier children, and reduced burglaries. Such an amazing range of associations with the elements of Maharishi Vastu. It's hard to even imagine yet, and yet this is just the results of analyzing data. And in the workplace, we find that Maharishi Vastu, or elements of it, improve our focus doing tasks. We get through the task faster. We have more brainwave coherence. We're more creative. We have fewer financial problems and overall greater success. Now, how can it be that buildings can have such profound effects upon us? And what is special about facing east? Well, we've already discussed that to some degree, but buildings also, the walls of buildings should face the four cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. This is because the reality of life on the surface of planet Earth is that there is a standing grid on the surface of the planet that runs due north, south, east, and west. This is understood in the field of quantum physics, and walls should align with this grid. We understand that the effect is that the space within the grid then is not confusing, does not create incoherence for our brain. The system of Vastu that we practice was restored and rigorously systematized worldwide by the well-known Vedic sage Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who is well known for introducing transcendental meditation, and who began promoting wellness communities 30 years ago. And so we call this really restored practice of Vastu after him, Maharishi Vastu. What are the key elements? We've talked about Eastern orientation and buildings aligned with cardinal directions. Also, the orientation of us, the subject matters, the direction our head faces when we sleep, the direction we face when we're working, have dramatic measurable effects upon our physical and mental health. Also, water bodies and hills in different orientations from our home have different effects. We also want to make sure that key rooms in the house are located so that the varying energies of the sun will support the activities in them. We also build our buildings around a central point, which is a principle that we find throughout nature's architecture. Galaxies, solar systems, stars, planets, human physiology, cells, molecules, atoms, all are organized around a central core. This is a principle of how nature produces coherent, balanced structures, and our homes should benefit from this principle as well. In addition, we use measurements and proportions that resonate with nature so that the buildings will have only nourishing influences on us. But in the 21st century, we have encountered certain environmental hazards, toxins, unique to this point in the world's history. And so we also have to build in a way that ensures that those unique 21st century hazards will not cause illness to us. And so things that help with that are plenty of sunlight into houses, fresh, clean air, ideally with open windows if the outdoor air is nourishing and warm enough so we have cross ventilation. Building of natural, healthful construction materials. Building sustainably so that we are not wasting the resources of this precious earth. And when we look out of our buildings, we should look onto the beauty of nature. Now, some people have developed chemical intolerances, and it is very important that we build in a way that will not provoke chemical intolerance, which is a terrible plague that affects a significant percentage of the world's population. And it's very avoidable. We want to make sure that there will be no sponsors of mold in our homes. They have to be dry in the walls and in the roof assembly and in the foundations. They have to be designed to be dry. One way to do that is to make the walls vapor permeable so that vapor is not trapped in them, but can breathe to the outside. We want to use natural and non-toxic materials, and we want to make sure that all the finishes that we use in a house are made ideally of natural materials, and if not, of very non-toxic materials. I could spend an hour on each of these subjects, but I just want to touch on them as something which is necessary when we build for health in the 21st century. So let's look at wellness. First of all, an example. One occupant wrote, "My experience is that this Maharishi Vastu home is a totally safe, secure refuge, a sanctuary of purity and stillness and happiness. I feel that my home protects me, not only when I'm in it, but even when I am away from it. I feel nourished by my house, supported by my house, cared for by my house." This is an astonishing experience. People search for such an influence unsuccessfully, but thousands and thousands of us in the US and many more around the world have this real experience every day, including me right now as I'm speaking to you from within my own Maharishi Vastu home. But let's not rely on anecdote. Let's see what the statistics tell us. And what we find is that about 93% of people who live in Maharishi Vastu agree that the home has increased their comfort, 90% that it has improved their overall quality of life, and close to that, family relations and fulfillment of goals also have improved. Really astonishing things. And as an example, our life and relationships seem to be happier and more peaceful, is what one homeowner said. And another in Italy said, "Everyone coming to our home has a feeling of well-being and inner calm. The change in the behavior of my husband is so clear that everyone, I mean everyone, points it out with amazement." Success, the ability to do what we want to do, is so important in life. And about 90% of the people who have moved into Vastu have reported that their overall success has improved since they've moved into the home. Now, this may sound like it's a placebo, but we understand how. We understand through neurophysiological research how when we face certain directions, our brain functions more efficiently with greater coherence, and that causes us to be more successful at our activities. This is not a matter of belief. This is a matter of science. An example at work, someone wrote, in the beautiful tower companies in Rockville, Maryland, which are housed in a Maharishi Vastu office building, "I feel calmness as I move through the office. Even though everyone seems busy, there's no feeling of stress or panic, just a great overall feeling." What we would like in our office. At home, One couple writes, "Our son's ability to concentrate on projects is much greater. He feels he wants to accomplish whatever he needs to do, and he doesn't feel distracted." How about health? Well, over 80% of people who live in Vastu report that they have less stress in their lives. About 80% have improved mental health. There's also improved physical health and better sleep that people experience after living in Vastu. And so for an example of an experience, the owner of this house wrote, "I sleep better. I feel more at home. The space feels alive. I'm more creative and fulfilled being there. People who have visited are blown away by the way it feels being there." Let's look at a couple of photographs of Maharishi Vastu homes. This is one in Australia. Here is one a few miles from me in Iowa, and an office building, the one that we heard from earlier in Rockville, Maryland. As you can see, a very wide range of styles from traditional to contemporary. And this is a rendering of the newest Maharishi Vastu community, which is beginning construction this year in Vero Beach, Florida, called Mandala Village and Resort. But we have executed projects in 37 states across the US and on all continents save Antarctica, but we'd like to build in Antarctica too. Maybe that will happen. And we have Maharishi Vastu architects all over the globe waiting to serve people. And they're also able to work remotely. I work routinely on projects in various countries right now, one project in Asia and two in Europe, for example. And our work is always reviewed by two other Maharishi Vastu architects to make sure that our designs are precise and accurate. And then when a house is done, it can be third-party certified. So how do we proceed? Well, the first thing is for us to evaluate your site. And then if you want, we can do a feasibility study to make sure that the house that you want or other building or community will fit comfortably onto your lot according to everything necessary. And then the next step is the design. We can provide you with a pre-designed home. We can design a building for you, or we can consult to your own local architect. And then during design and construction, we provide you with guidance. And as I mentioned earlier, we can certify completed Maharishi Vastu projects. So this is a quick overview. For more information, feel free to go to our website, maharishivastu.org. Email Susan or Serene at info@maharishivastu.org, or give us a call. In the US, our phone number is 641-472-7570. I'd like to say operators are standing by, but Serena and Susan are both on this call, but they will get back to you as soon as possible.
Please just feel completely free to email us at the email address, or even give us a call at the number that's on this slate that's up here now. And we'll be back in touch with you. And we very much appreciate your coming with us today.
Thanks very much, everybody. And we look forward to being in touch with you and to speaking with you again. Take care.